inspires you?
Who inspires me? Well, growing up, I had my best friend Cosima's mother was a huge inspiration, Nico. Nico, at the time, was a Marchioness and lived in a stately home, and she had hired David Hicks to do her house. So, you know, going to stay with them was pretty fabulous. And I just loved the way he and she was the most stylish woman I've ever met. You know, between her Indian mirrored waistcoats to her pink fuchsia pillows and things, to her big paisley prints in her bedroom. I would say she was a huge influence. Obviously, if you go back in time, Palladio, you know, Axel Vervolt, I.M. Pei. I'm just trying to think of, gosh, I suppose Robert Keim has been a bit of a mentor of mine. English, wonderful. He started life as an antique dealer. Now he does Prince Charles's homes.
Oh, lovely.
But then my best girlfriend from boarding school, Sasa, who's a 5-element acupuncturist and a shaman. She inspires me. And I also have learned less is more, which I think is a big deal. And I think in this day and age, we've got to be very mindful of what we buy and what we throw away.
What about some of the places that you've been, some of your travel that's inspired your work?
Well, my earliest memories are the pyramids in Egypt. I went there when I was 2.5. My mother was born in Alexandria, and we went back, I don't know, we used to go on holiday.
Yes.
So that obviously, as a little girl, see those
amazing
things like the pyramids. I'm a big fan of anywhere, North Africa, West Africa. You know, I spent time in Ghana, Togo, which is a very small slither of a country to the east of Ghana, Morocco, you know, all of that. You know, I've been doing this for years and years. Obviously, there's nowhere in Southern Europe that you don't want to be, whether it's the French countryside, the Amalfi Coast.
Yes.
Scotland, I'm crazy about Scotland. The Jurassic Coast in England, which is, you know, just this beautiful coastline off Dorset, off the English coast. You know, I've been going to Vietnam a few times. India, of course, I love.
We want to probably say a little bit about the perfect room as well, and talk a little bit about the perfect room.
You know, I always feel I like to be just one step ahead, but I don't do that on purpose. I just am one step ahead. And I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was doing one of my design retreats in France, and I got a bunch of people from Silicon Valley. They worked for Facebook and Twitter, and I think we had everyone but Tinder represented. And they wanted to do it as a sort of, they'd all been to school together and college and whatever. And so I was talking to one of the guys, and I said, look, I've got this idea. I really, really want to do a way of making interior design easier. I mean, we should be able to do it online, because then it was quite ahead of its time. And he wrote code for the first iPhone, and he said, yeah, I'm sure we can do that. And about a week later, on his plane ride back to San Francisco, he put together a little wireframe. He sent it to me, and he said, is this what you're talking about? And I went, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. So anyway, so I had this idea, and, you know, of course, I'm very, very untech savvy. I can't, thankfully, even order anything online. And when I do order things online, I get the wrong size, they go to the wrong address. I just realized that I ordered, and I must do something about it today, for the wedding in France. I went to Airbnb and I booked a house for May, not August. So I better organize that today. That's on my to-do list.
But you're really sort of, you're working between both physical and digital environments.
So the perfect room came about. The idea was, I thought, look, let's get a bunch of some of the great interior designers, of which we've got Martin Lawrence Bullard, who I think was your last designer on Icon, Alessandra Branca, Jeffrey Allen Marks, who was also on the TV show with me, Robert Stillen, wonderful Timothy Corrigan. There's a bunch of us. And I thought, what if we take all those images that they have that have been in their books or in magazine articles, and we get the look. People can get the look. Because obviously that's what we do. Clients come to me with pictures. Most of the time they are images of my own work, but sometimes they'll show me something someone else has done and I'll go, oh yeah, okay, that's your inspiration. So I thought, why not sort of collaborate with these designers? So that's how it happened. And I had a couple of really good girlfriends. One of them, I said to her, one day I was in London having coffee with her. She said, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I've got this idea. It's online design. And she goes, oh, that's interesting. She said, well, actually, we invest in tech. So the next thing I know, I'd raised money, which I've never done before. So again, I pat myself on the back for raising the money. And, there it was. All of a sudden, I was reading, Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. I was getting all these Wired magazine. I was going up to Silicon Valley. But what was funny was all of a sudden, I got a phone call from one of the big guys at Apple who asked me to come to his house. So, just all of a sudden I threw myself into going up there and being in that part of the world. And, it's like learning a language. You just have to get immersed in it and really, really just go for it. So it's been interesting. It, again, hasn't been without its challenges because I didn't go to MIT. I can't write code. And it's a business where now I understand why people in tech, they're always about 3 or 4 founders because they all have their area of expertise and they've come together. I unfortunately, sort of me and then me. But I've had great people I've met on the way that have been part of it. And now, of course, the whole new way we're living is everyone is going online and looking at stuff. Tech evolves very quickly and it's very expensive.
Yes.
I mean, it's, as we all know, it's hard enough just to get our own website done. I mean, that's a challenge. So try then making it online and shoppable. But, it's been a fun journey.
As part of that, if there's an up and coming design icon wannabe, somebody who wants to build a career and get to the level where you are, what kind of advice would you give to someone maybe just starting out in the industry?
I'd say be your own guinea pig. Try things out on yourself. Don't be too ambitious in the early days because, guess what? If it doesn't work, you're lumbered with it. And I always say, the only way you continue in this business, it's word of mouth, it's people will refer you, and you've got to end up with people liking at the end of it. So quite often we have to zip it, even when they say they didn't order something. You've got to do the paperwork, get those signatures, get those letter of agreements. You know what? And believe me, I have made all the mistakes, so I can tell you, and some of them being quite costly. So, yeah, that would be my word of advice is make sure you get people. Even the better friend they are, the more difficult and more likely you're going to fall out with them. So just make sure everyone's on the same page. You don't need to have just get a Sharpie and put 5 bullet points what it is you're doing, and both sign it, just so there is an agreement. Because there can be so many blurred lines in this business. I think that's really important. And a budget, I always start, even when people say, oh, there isn't any budget, what's the budget? I go, yeah, I bet your husband would want a budget. I don't want to be involved in your divorce, okay? By the way, I have been. Believe me, building a house can be treacherous on a marriage. So yeah, I think make sure everyone knows how much is being spent. And by the way, if they want to add to it and say, oh, I've got some more money hidden away, stashed away, I'm going to buy that, great, go do it. But be very clear. And it's taken me 25 years to do that. But it's important, and that's the business side of it. And what's hard is we have to be their best friends. I mean, we have to be almost everything but their lover, you know, to them. And so you got to keep a little bit of distance. Don't go to every dinner party. And my biggest bit of advice is do not sleep with either of them until they've paid their last bill.
Absolutely. Good words of wisdom.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the last part, it's called the Z8. So I'm going to ask you just little kind of questions. So first, number one, favorite piece of furniture in Santa Monica and then in France, and why? In your house, obviously.
Okay, my most favorite piece of furniture is actually in my dressing room. It's a marquetry commode that came from my grandfather's house in Alexandria that my mum gave me. And it's really a beautiful piece. It used to be in my living room in my last house, and it should quite rightly be in the living room here. But you know what? I always say it doesn't matter if it's the best piece you've got or the best painting, put it where it fits and where it works. It just gives it an air of elegance. Then there's one other thing. I've got a beautiful Sicilian mirror that I bought down south. And after the earthquake in '94, my house was sort of picked up and thrown back on the ground. And all I remember going was, oh, the mirror. Where's the mirror? It's the mirror it had. And in France, gosh, do you know what? I know it's not a bit of furniture, but I've got a beautiful old Massey Ferguson tractor that I was given for my 50th birthday. And it's exactly the same age as me. And it's really fabulous. Wonderful. That makes me happy. I remember I had a boyfriend at the time, and he, I thought he'd organized it. He'd asked the people who look after the house, he said, what does Kathryn really need? And they said, a tractor.
A tractor.
So he found the tractor. And I remember lying in bed, it was about 7 o'clock in the morning, and he had this tractor brought in, and I was like, why is the tractor coming in this, why I could hear this tractor, because it's normally the farmer.
Yeah.
What's he doing? He's having plough up the field, 7 in the morning. And I remember looking outside and going, oh God, that's rather pretty. There was this beautiful tractor. So that, I suppose, then I have my beautiful Arab horses, the 3 black Arabs, one of which I bred myself. Really, my Aga stove. I suppose if I had to choose something, it'd be my Aga.
Yes, absolutely.
Which, if you don't know what an Aga stove is, you're going to see a few.
Yes.
Cut to the Aga.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like the Rolls Royce of cookers.
Speaking of, number 2, favorite idea for a party.
My eldest son had a party last week, and it was a silent disco, which was kind of great because you can you can go on all night, and the police aren't going to show up. So that was kind of good. They wear headphones. It's really fun. Do you know what he did? God, I didn't think any of my kids had an artistic bone in their body, but they do. He has this big lawn, and he lives a couple of blocks away, and he took those same little yogurt pots, which I have many of, and he put them all over the lawn with little tea lights in them, and it was fabulous. So we had this lawn of lights. I thought, oh, that's a really good idea. I'm going to use that.
That's fantastic.
So that would be my tip.
Favorite go-to recipe?
Gosh, do you know what? I like anything that has a salad in it. A warm salad. I think I'm going to make you a cod salad today, but it can have chicken in it. It can have steak in it. It can just have vegetables, grilled asparagus, corn on the cob that you've then taken off and put in, but a lot of grilled that you sort of mix. And you can also put quinoa in, pesto as a dressing.
Wonderful. Must-haves for successful entertaining.
Great guests. What else can I say? That was an easy one.
That's easy. And the yogurt.
Yeah, but that's easy. It's all about the guests.
Absolutely. Must-haves for a happy, comfortable home with regard to furnishings.
Comfortable sofas, deep. Everything should be deep and generous. I don't like skimping on anything. I love lovely linens, spend money on bedding, linens. I mean, you don't have to buy fancy, expensive art. I mean, quite honestly, get your kids' art and frame it. I mean, I have to say, I once had Donna Summer, we were doing a music video for her, and she saw a painting in my house that was done by one of my best girlfriends. And she said, who did that? And I go, Lucilla Smith. She goes, oh, of course. I said, what do you mean, of course? Like, you know Lucilla Smith? She was my roommate. But, you know, it's just...
What?
So you don't need to spend money, I don't think, on the art. On all the luxury of textures. You know, I don't know, it's just, you know, nice pottery, nice ceramics, flowers, everyday living, the things that enhance your day-to-day life.
Okay. Crystal ball, what do you see as the next big thing in interior design for homes?
Haven't we done it all? I have a feeling it's all been done. I think people are going to become way more confident. I think people are already decorating, whether they're getting the help of people online. And there's a new company called The Expert, which I'm a part of, which is people can book an hour's consultation with you, which is sort of great. It's great for both of us. You can give them design tips, and I can be sitting in the French countryside making a living. So it's great. It's a sort of a win-win for both. But I think, yeah, online, physically going and sitting and seeing and touching will never go out of fashion. It's only going to come back in. So let's not get too lazy with our sitting, clicking away, click, buy. Because I tell you, when that sofa arrives and you don't like it, or it's the wrong size, it's quite hard to send it back.
Absolutely.
So I would say always go in person to see things, and that's coming back. Shops are coming back, you know, and you know, obviously flea markets. I'm a huge fan of flea market shopping because there's so much stuff.
Oh, it's amazing.
We have to repurpose, reuse.
Book that you would still like to write?
Oh, my memoirs, of course. Food, Sex and Decorating. And in that order.
A bestseller.
Needless to say.
And finally, 3 things that would most surprise people to know about you.
Well, I think I've told you them all. I won the needlework prize. I did Call Me Al. And the fact that I started dating my first ever boyfriend. So that's nice.
That's an off-camera discussion.
Yeah.
I want to hear all that. That's an off-camera. I want to hear all about. That's great.
Yeah, she just told me the other day I was the first girl he ever kissed. We've known each other he was my eldest brother's best friend since they were 8. I know.
Oh, that's fascinating.
I know.
Well, Kathryn Ireland, it is a pleasure. It has been wonderful getting to know you better. We do want to remind folks that they can meet you in person at the Las Vegas Market, January 2022, and we'll have more conversations and learn even more of your secrets.
I have to find some.
We'll measure. Thank you.
Between now and then, I've got some secrets to come up with.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.